Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year to everybody. I hope your end of year was great, and I hope the start of the new year is great, and that your families are safe, your businesses are thriving, and you're excited to take on 2021. We have some great questions this morning, and I can't wait to tackle them, and I hope you enjoy them as well. So, the first question comes from Roland Burneth. Roland's background and question are this. Our family business is a decor and seasonal retail and wholesale store. In the store, we employ a total of 10 employees. The company grew over time, but there was never time and energy allocated to systematically to grow it. Currently, the employees are all rotating between being at the cashier, unpacking inventory, sticking labels on inventory, placing the inventory on shelves. As everybody is doing everything, sometimes I feel like none is doing anything. They are not responsible. There are a lot of mistakes. I need proper job descriptions and tasks. I believe I need to divide the store into segments, sales and product handling, create new job responsibilities, etc. How do I create a new structure within the company? First of all, what I would do if I were you is that I would put together a Word document and put every type of position that you need to fill within the organization. And then I would look at all the employees. And if you know enough about their skill set, I would go and write down everyone's skill set and then see if I could match them to the positions that are open. Then I would talk to them about wanting to put them in the position because you need them to have buy-in in order to go along with this. If you don't have the buy-in, they won't do the job effectively. So you have to ask them, is this the type of job that you'd want to do? And maybe they don't just do that job on a consistent basis, especially if you think to yourself, would I want to do this day in and day out? I know you want what's best for the organization, but you also don't want people so bored that they do make these mistakes. I think a lot of the mistakes that you're probably making are either the people are in the wrong position or everything's so rushed that mistakes happen. So there may not be a process and quality check for everything that you're doing. So I would put together a document, list all the positions, all of the skills needed for those positions, list all of the people in your organization, list their skill set, and match those two together. And then I would talk to them about putting them with those positions and try it for a 30 to 90-day period and see how it works out. And tell them what the incentive is for them, because there needs to be some kind of financial incentive for them to do it well. Now, I don't know if that's stopping your business from growing, because I don't know how much inflow that you're getting from potential customers. I don't know if you have such a long list of customers that you are not able to handle them all because internally things are not working well, or that you feel like so much time is being spent putting band-aids on things that you cannot take the time to go out and get more business. But if you've got 10 employees, I'm assuming your business is pretty good and that you have a pretty good flow of customers. So again, I would write out who could do what positions, but list all the positions, criteria for those positions, all your employees, their skill set, and then I would match them together and then talk to them and move them on. So our next question is from Brianna Carroll. Brianna writes, I co-own a franchise called Whoa Mom's World, which is a multi-service center for families, including a play space, fitness, cafe, swim, spa, etc. I was informed there is one franchisee who is continually not complying to franchisor standards. My partners have put me in charge of handling all U.S. franchisees and asked for me to go visit the locations in the new year. We already have a franchisee signed agreements which state compliance, a franchisee's checklist to go through. They have asked her multiple times to change certain things. They feel they have lost her respect, so sending me in to handle it. What is the typical franchise protocol for this situation? How often should a franchisor visit franchisees to make sure they are compliant? Any advice is appreciated. first of all, I'm not an expert in franchises, and I would actually go to the National Franchise Association and look for a consultant to get advice or talk to other franchisors and ask them how they handle problem franchisees because you don't want to get into a lawsuit. I think having that first meeting with the franchisee is a good idea and asking them why they do certain things. But before I'd even do that, I would come as if I were a customer and see what the experience is like because that franchisee might have some great ideas to improve all franchises in your system. So before I would make it confrontational, I would experience what they're doing, make some notes, and then ask for a meeting with the franchisee, and then ask them why won't they comply with this? What's the reason behind it? Because you guys worked hard at creating a strong system. Clearly, they bought into that system, or they wouldn't have bought the franchise because they could have just experienced the franchise and mirrored a lot of what you did and created their own thing. So clearly, there's something that they liked about it, but maybe there are things that they thought could be improved. So what I would definitely do is experience it, talk to the franchisee. I would go and find a expert who's dealt with these kinds of problems by contacting the National Franchise Association, and I would call non-competitive franchisors, and ask them how do they handle similar problems. And from that, you should be able to arrive at a good solution. But I think being confrontational, threatening lawsuits, not going to do anybody any good, and in fact will damage the brand and will probably hurt future franchisee sales. Our next question is from Dan Aruzamkowski. And I apologize, Dan, if I mispronounce the name. Dan says, working construction and have multiple projects going on at one time. Need to know what costs go to what projects. Looking to scale to 10 projects at a time. Need a scalable system for each location. What's the best accounting process to implement to keep track of expenses during a project to track profitability in real time? I would contact the construction association and ask them what software everybody else is using for this. Because I've never done construction, and typically I create my own spreadsheets for my own businesses, and they're very detailed. And I've even created spreadsheet for construction companies to figure out all their costs so that they don't find that they lose money on every project, and it helps them scale. But I would definitely contact your local builder and trades association, contact contractors, maybe not even in your area if you're worried about competition. You can contact them in the next town over, or another city, another county, or the National Association. And I'm sure when you Google online, you can ask people for recommendations because there'll be recommendations out there. So there's plenty of options out there to find that information. So that's what I would do if I were you. And then talk to people who've used those systems and make sure that they live up to the billing, the marketing hype that they get for those things. So the next question is from Kyle Stroud. Kyle writes, I'm an Amazon seller. I purchase products at wholesale prices and ship the products to Amazon warehouses, which then fulfill orders to my customers. After speaking to Sean, our fearless leader, I know that I need to hire people to do the work that I don't enjoy. Inventory needs to be monitored daily, and the employee will need to use tools and my past sales performance on these products to make an educated guess on how many units need to be purchased. This is a crucial part of the business. If I have no inventory in stock, I can't make money. I'm looking to hire someone to monitor inventory levels and make purchasing decisions. Should I use cheap out-of-country employees, friends, family, job search sites, etc.? I would first start with friends and family and ask them if they know of anybody who could do this. You could go and look online and find an outsourced group in another country, But then you'd have to go also online when you found those groups and see online what comments that people make. Also, I don't know how much FaceTime that you need to have with people to do this particular job. If you said to yourself, geez, I really need a lot of FaceTime. Need to get to know them. I need to be able to talk to them at any given time. So that can't happen with an outsourced group. It's typically you're going to set a schedule and you're going to set meeting dates and so forth. So I would write out the job description of what you need. I would send it out on LinkedIn. I would send it out on Facebook, and I would see who responds to that. And I would ask people that I know for recommendations of individuals who could do this job, and then try a couple people and see if that works out for you. I think that's probably the best bet. And I'm surprised, and I don't think this should be a problem for whoever comes in to know how many to order, because if you're keeping any kind of spreadsheet of any of these orders, it will tell them the gap in time when you made the last order and how many you ordered. So that tells them how many days a particular product will last on your shelf. So I think that's you can figure that out. I think the big question is having somebody who's very meticulous work on this and make sure all these things get done while you work on the sales and marketing aspects of it. So again, I would go and make a list of what this job entails. I would go and let friends and family know about it. I would let everybody who's in my Facebook and LinkedIn world know about it. I would tweet it out. And I would also send out to my accountant, my lawyer, my insurance broker, all my professional service providers who work with me, because you never know who might know the perfect person for this job. So that's what I would do if I were you. The next question I have is from Kelly Killingsworth. Kelly writes, I own a small construction company that specializes in fences, decks, roofs, and small interior renovations. I put a bid on a garage remodel where I contracted the electrical out. I added 20% to the electrician's bid. Not sure if that's kosher, plus my materials and my time. After giving my bid, the client then asked for an itemized quote. What is a professional way to answer a client who asks to receive a specialized itemized quote after you've given them the bid for the job? So he wants to know all of the components to it. What is he paying for each part of this? So if he sees that the electrician part is 20% more than he was getting quoted from somebody else, then there's going to be some negotiation there. I definitely think it's perfectly fine to mark up outsourced providers by some percentage, whether it's 10%, 20%, whatever that is. And I would look at what the industry standard is, because you should mark that up because you spent the time looking for and evaluating this contractor. So see no problem with you charging for that, and you're overseeing them. At the end of the day, you're responsible for their work as if they were an employee of yours. And I see industries do that all the time. As for making the itemized quote, I would just put a spreadsheet together and show them all the different numbers and how they add up. It's not unusual for people to do that. And I think the more transparent that you are, the better that is. And look, if you're charging more than somebody else, but the client likes you, the client might say to you, listen, you're charging 10% more. If you can match this number, I'd be glad to use you. And then you'll have a business decision to make. You'll have to decide if, in fact, you're willing to come down 10%. Does it affect your margins in such a great way that you're not making money on this? So again, I would go and absolutely be transparent, give them all the information they want. Don't worry about the fact that you're increasing the charge for any outside contractors, because again, you've found them, evaluated them, and you're vouching for them, so you should get compensated for that. Our last question today is from Allison Konyagi. Again, I hope I pronounced that correctly. The question Allison asked is, digital marketing agency Allison Koyanagi. I have a new software that I want to introduce to my clients, but it does cost me a fee every month to use it. It will improve customer service and communication with clients. Since the fee is a bit high, I was going to pass this fee on to my clients, which will end up being nominal for them if I spread it out. How do I go about wording my email to them about this new fee? I want to express that this new software will bring a lot of value to them while we're also explaining why I'm raising the rates. I also don't want to make them angry for raising the rates on them during a sensitive time when many businesses are struggling. Thank you for your time and expertise. What's the best way to pass on a fee for a new software onto my clients? So you could tell your clients that there's been upgrades being made, and those have increased the cost of doing business. And you could, if it's a big increase, and you mentioned here it's a really small, minute increase, then I don't think it's going to be a problem if it's a small, minute increase. But if it's a big increase, then you'd want to maybe tell them you're going to layer it in over time. You could tell them this is what it's going to be. I know that times are tough right now, but unfortunately, I can't absorb this cost. So what I'd like to do is have you pay it over the course of a year, or the payments will just be gradual over time. So there's lots of different ways to do it, because businesses understand they have to raise their prices too. You know, there's a shortage of something like lobsters at a restaurant and they're able to get them. They're paying more for those lobsters. So you can expect that you're going to be paying more for those lobsters. If you remember, hand sanitizer was up a lot of money in the beginning of COVID because they ran out of supplies and it became supply demand type of thing. Of course, people were gouging people, but you're not doing that here. I think as long as you're transparent with them, that's not a problem. And that's for your existing clients. For new clients, there's no reason to mention it. You just go and put that price in. And if they don't like your total price, then they're going to let you know by either telling you or they're just not going to utilize you. So one of those two things is going to happen. But again, I always like the idea of transparency and telling people, here's what it is. I often tell people when I put together some type of project, I'm only marking this up 20 or 25%. I have to make money at the end of the day, and we're not a volume business. And I'm assuming that you're not a volume business. Like grocery stores have thin margins, but they do, you know, a typical grocery store, regular size, 40,000 square feet store might do 20, 25 million in a year. They might only make 2.5 million. They might net at the end of the day 10%, or it could be even a little bit less. So it all depends on your business. But again, if I were you, I would for the existing customers, I'd let them know that you have to raise it because you've put in this software that's going to make a big difference in their business, save them money, make them money, or however that's going to help them. And then for new customers, no need to mention it. It's just part of the package. Well, again, I hope I was helpful to all of you today. I hope that your 2021 is significantly better than 2020, although a lot of people had a great 2020. I know many of my clients, this was one of their best years ever. I think the people have been suffering the most that we really need to get behind are the restaurants in this country and the fitness centers. We really need to get behind those folks because it's been a really rough time for them and their employees. So I hope everybody, when you're able to go and order takeout or go to a restaurant because they're allowing you to eat in, that you're going to take advantage of that. I hope all of you have a great weekend. I look forward to seeing you all soon. Thanks again.